Okay, so Toy Story 5 made $160 million US at the box office this weekend, the North American box office. That is the highest opening for this franchise and for any movie this year, which is pretty impressive for a bunch of dolls that keep having to prove to everyone that they are still relevant. I'm Radheyan Simonpillai sitting in for Elamin Abdelmahmoud. This is Commotion. Kristy Puchko, Jackson Weaver, they've seen Toy Story 5 and they're here to get into it with me. Welcome back to the show, y'all.
Hello, hello.
Hello. All right, so let's start things off right here.
Bonnie doesn't want to play with toys anymore. She needs me.
Jesse, you know Bonnie better than anyone. What does your gut say?
Bonnie still needs us. Our time ain't over yet.
Okay, we all know all they need is that needle drop to get us all misty-eyed, right? Like that's all they had to do. But So that was a bit of the trailer for Toy Story 5, which is reuniting Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Joan Cusack as Woody, Buzz, and Jessie. Kristy, look, there is no other franchise Pixar returns to like Toy Story, more than Toy Story, right? And with good reason, because Toy Story, I mean, this is not just a huge franchise for Pixar, it is just a huge deal for animation and how far we've come when it comes to animation, right? So can you remind us all what the Toy Story, like why the Toy Story legacy is so important?
Well, I mean, interestingly, this was Pixar's first movie, but also it was the first full-length completely computer animated movie. And like in retrospect that feels crazy because it came out the box as it were like perfect. Like people loved this movie. It's still so good. Like even looking back, the animation's gotten better, but that first movie is so beautifully put together. And I think it became the trend that not only did animation stylistically follow in terms of like computers and trying to figure out what that look was going to look like, but also in like the way of like figuring out how to build characters people are going to keep coming back to, because there's a nostalgia element. But like I was a kid when that movie came out and like I didn't have cowboy toys and space rangers, but like then I wanted them. Like you know what I mean? Like it from out the gate it was throwing back to a nostalgia of an earlier time, but it was still making it feel modern enough that kids today didn't feel like they were, playing with antiques. It felt fresh and new and exciting, and like because of the way the storytelling was, because of how effective that animation was.
That was like kind of a beautiful contrast when it came to the first movie, where it's like on the one hand, it's ushering in the future when it comes to computer animated film, but on the other hand, it's holding on to the past. Like literally those toys were the toys that the parents of 1995 would have played with, right? Like the Etch-a-Sketch and the Green Army toys. And
it's a pull string Woody doll. Like
yeah. So I mean, look, I love that element of it. I love that, in the 31 years since that movie, what's his name, Buzz Lightyear remained the most modern toy up until now. Jackson, I mean, as I said off the top, I mean, this is a movie about these toys trying to stay relevant, trying not to be tossed aside. Tell us more about the premise of Toy Story 5.
Trying to stay relevant, and this is the exact same plot formula as all of the other ones. I mean, Toy wants to protect a child. Toy feels displaced by another toy coming in. Toy is, displaced physically and has to get back to the original place that the kid is at. And then Toy realizes that they'll never be able to truly protect this kid, and that all they can do is help them grow beyond them and have like a kind of form of self-acceptance. In this film, that is new kid Bonnie, 8 years old. She is isolated, can't make friends with those around her because she is imaginative a little bit. She might call herself weird. I call her interesting. And after that, her parents say, well, the only way she can really connect with her friends is getting on this device that they're all on. It's called a lily pad in this film. It's basically like a leapfrog tablet. She gets on it. Of course, it's anthropomorphized, so it takes over the room. All the toys in her room are terrified of that, and we get the new kind of share for the room. Displacing Woody is Jessie. And after that, they get displaced. They need to figure out how to come back, and they need to figure out how to defeat the evil that is devices that is stealing the imaginative play of kids all throughout the neighborhood and all throughout the world.
Jackson, believe me, I took in all of that synopsis, but what I'm so impressed by is how you said that word anthropomorphize so easily. Like you could just get it out there. That was so incredible.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so Kristy, I mean, look, you watched the latest sequel that Jackson has just summarized there. Talk to me. Like, did you like Toy Story 5?
I did. You know what's interesting? Because I rewatched Toy Story 4 before this to remind me what had happened. Because I remembered really liking that movie, but had no memory of it. Which, admittedly, my job, I watch a lot of movies, so sometimes they just come and go in my brain. But I've heard people make jokes about, like, you know, like, it's good that Toy Story was a trilogy and they never made another movie. And it's not that 4 is bad.
Yeah.
It's like 4 is a very fun, sweet movie. It just didn't feel essential. But I think 5 gets us back on track with this story does feel important for all the reasons Jackson was talking about. Like, it is touching on these themes about, like, I mean, I think about parenting probably, but like about the idea of like understanding that life is chapters and like that sometimes that chapter is going to close whether you want it to or not, which like I'm tearing up thinking about this. But the way they do it in this one, I love Jessie. I've loved Jessie since they introduced her in Toy Story 2, in part because like Joan Cusack is my girl. I've been like, I grew up with you know, Addams Family Values and Toys, which were like those movies that like we watch now and we're like, kids were allowed to watch these. These were really?
Yeah.
But she was amazing in those. And I think she brings that like energy that is like a little more chaotic than like what Tim Allen and Tom Hanks bring. So it just really feels special. And it feels like an undercurrent in this movie, as Jackson was talking about, because it's like Bonnie is kind of considered a misfit because she doesn't play the way other kids play. And I like the idea of having a representation for kind of the weird girls or the misfit kids that are like not following the trend. And like, what do you do when you're not following the trend? And maybe your social circle is not that big because you're 8. Like, what does that look like? So like, I just thought this was really effective because it's giving us the things we want. It's the toys are back and but like, you know, Buzz and Woody are like fighting again, But there's a bigger story that actually feels like it has more to say with this franchise, which impressed me, which made me be like, okay, I'm okay with a Toy Story 5. Like, I didn't dislike Toy Story 4, but it was like, that felt like, and another adventure and not like an essential chapter. But
I dislike Toy Story 4, so I'll be
All
the curmudgeon.
I remember is Sporky. Was it Sporky or Forky? It was Forky. See, I got
He was Forky. He was a spork, though. So that is,
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, that was the identity
I'm
crisis. Of that
Not
one.
a fan of Forky.
I mean, like Kristy kind of mentioned, like I don't remember anything about that movie but Forky. So, but back to 5. Look, we set this up. Like the big kind of tension in 5 is that the main toys, they're up against this AI powered smart tablet called a lily pad. So let's actually have a listen to this exchange from the movie between Jessie, the cowgirl voiced by Joan Cusack, our girl, and the lily pad.
I want to talk to you, device.
Please, call me Lily.
Now look here. Me and the toys have been working all summer to try and get Bonnie to make friends with the Jordan twins across the street.
Yeah.
But then you had to ruin
Got
it with
it.
all your stupid... You're not even listening to me!
Oh, no, I was listening. I'm always listening. See? Now look here. Me and the toys have been working all summer to try to get Bonnie to make friends with the Jordan twins. No, in Spanish.
Con los gemelos Jordan, al otro lado de la calle, pero luego tuviste que arruinarlo.
As a rap.
Me and the toys been working all summer trying to get Bonnie make friends.
Oh, this concerns me ethically.
Yeah, that was a good way to make us hate AI, I think. hate technology, hate screen time. Look, Jackson, I mentioned this, of course, like Toy Story. I mean, this movie, again, is about this tension. I'm wondering, this tension that, of course, feels so relevant right now. Because we are, of course, at a tipping point, not just in terms of parents having to fight screen time with their kids or manage screen time with their kids, but also we're in a moment, like, culturally, globally, where every nation is trying to, a bunch of the different countries are trying to, you know, introduce social media bans so children under 16 are not online like this. So tell me how you think Toy Story 5 did in terms of grappling with these issues.
I'll say that I love Toy Story 5. Kristy's doing such a good job of being the champion and saying the things that I also loved about it, that I'm going to go to the curmudgeonly things about it, where this film is set up as being anti-tech, which one, kind of late, maybe should have done that in Toy Story 4 6 years ago when it was actually relevant for kids to have leapfrogs. And then also, it very much walks a center line as the movie progresses. It is not anti-tech. That one of the good characters is a device named Smarty Pants that helps train kids to be potty trained, voiced by Conan O'Brien. So throughout the movie, I think Pixar does what it has been doing so much recently, and Elio taking out its LGBTQ storylines to not offend anybody, Hopper's making its climate catastrophe moral being the way to save the world is to befriend your local politician. They don't want to upset anybody, so this film is very much being like, yo, tech is bad, but also like, Apple's cool. Maybe we'll get a pet tablet and just be responsible. And outside of that, I think what the Toy Story franchise really does, and it gets more kind of problematic as it goes on is it's not really about kids. This is a franchise and a metaphor about parenthood, about raising a kid that you cannot protect from the world and accepting that they will go forth away from you into that world and leave you behind. And then outside of that, the issue being that it's more about celebrating this like idea of childhood, this pure idea of childhood. There's this book that, well, this philosophical essay I love called No Future by Lee Edelman. It's all about how every single political argument and debate is predicated around the idea of this metaphorical, pure, generic child that has no specific identity markers. So we make every single policy change and decision we can to protect that kind of future while ignoring the individuals. And I think this movie walks in lockstep with some of that, with how we do have all these social media bans. How much scientific evidence do we have for their efficacy? I don't know, but it seems like it's going to help the idea of a pure imaginative childhood. So let's go and do it. And this movie is very much also pushing that forward. We as adults feel so enthused to have the idea of kids playing and like having toys, and that's protected in our minds. It's less about how much kids actually care, although I will say Toy Story 5 is more about the kid than any of the other previous Toy Stories. Andy was kind of an afterthought as a character before. Love Bonnie, love exactly what Kristy was saying about that kind of isolation aspect to it. And those are my gripes. Other than that, I actually love this movie.
I actually love how you somehow really complicated my feelings about this movie, because I actually,
I'm sorry.
I came away with it like, I mean, I know you were bringing criticism to it, but I came away with it very disappointed because it felt like they were just, like, to your point, they were just fitting the lily pad and this new tech into the same old Toy Story narrative, right? The lily pad is the new Buzz Lightyear. It's just kind of lining it up with the new tropes. And I also like how you said, and they end on, Apple is cool. Well, remember when Pixar was founded and Toy Story was their first movie, remember who owned Pixar? Steve Jobs, everyone. Steve Jobs, the guy that introduced iPads and
Deep
iPhones
state
and all that.
connections
Exactly.
going on here.
So, Kristy, beyond, we were talking about the tension again between the toys and the tech, and this current moment that this movie is responding to. Were there any other themes in this movie that really connected with you?
Yeah, I think it does tie into the tech angle, which is like, I understand they don't want to totally demonize tech because they're selling lily pads, but also like there is an element, especially for kids who have a small, like real life social circle, that the internet can be a place for you to find community. And the movie does touch on that a little bit because Bonnie, through the internet, meets Blaze, who is a little bit older and a little more comfortable in who she is. And like Bonnie, she has a very like distinctive way of like playing with her games, that it's not the very, like, I feel like when we saw Andy play, it was very straightforward. He was like, it's a train robbery or whatever. And like theirs is like a little more weirdo. Love that for them. And like they connect initially online to be real life friends. And I think it becomes this like celebration of like, it's okay to be the weird kid. Cause like, the original Toy Story movie, as you point out, Andy is just so kind of like generic, like a little boy, moving on. Like this is more specifically about these girls who, are distinctive. Like when they show other kids in the neighborhood, these girls are like combining their own patterns. They're wearing clothes that might be considered loud or too much or costumey, but it's like, also we know those kids, and like cheers to those kids who aren't afraid of doing the thing that's different. But it's like with Bonnie, you see that she is afraid. You see that Bonnie is afraid of being rejected for people, for being too much. And then you meet Blaze, who's not. And who sees Bonnie and is like, let's play. And like, there's something so healing in that it's like, while there are other things in this that tie back to other Toy Story movies that made me weep like a child, that was like something new for this franchise. Because as we said, it's mostly about parenthood. It's mostly how can the toys help. And I liked the idea of like, also you can find a community. And like, sometimes it's not easy, but like, look. And like, seeing those girls become friends is such a big deal in this movie. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
So good.
Listen, we only got like a minute left, so I did want to just come back to both of you and be like, okay, well, now that we've discussed Toy Story 5, where does it rank in your love of the ultimate forgettable Toy Story 4, or whatever that was, and whatever you consider your high point? Kristy, let's start with you.
Man, I did rewatch them because I was prepped that they're like, we'll ask you to rank them. And I was like, oh no. I do think I love Toy Story 2 the most. So like personally, that one just really hits me. I think everything with Jessie and that scene with the Sarah McLachlan song, come on. I can't talk about that too early in the morning. I will weep. But 3 right after that, Toy Story after that, 5 after that, and 4 after that. So I know that's low, but it's just the bar is so high for that OG trilogy.
I'm shocked that you ranked 3 over the original. So that's like, did not see that coming.
3 is so good. Also, 3 has Michael Keaton as Ken, which to me is just like all-time great voice work.
Great
he
casting,
did
great cast.
so much going on there.
Jackson, what about you?
I mean, we're going to inverse what we've been saying this whole talk. I'm going to rank 5 very highly. I would say Toy Story 1's my GOAT because I watched when I was like a little baby boy. And then 5 is number 2, 3, and then 2, loving all of those. And then 4, a million miles below all of those. And it, like, I mean, we've seen that reflected in the box office. I think Toy Story 5 is 160 million domestic, over 300 worldwide, bigger box office opening than any other Toy Story movies. And I think I'm going to believe that a large part of that is exactly what Kristy was saying, that weird kid, the kid being a central part of it. And also we have like, big box office openings for sequels. Moana 2 beat Moana 1. Lilo and Stitch live action beat Lilo and Stitch. So it's a pattern. It's a pattern, but it's good.
Well, my ranking is 1, then 2, and then nothing else exists after that. But thank you very much, you two, for bringing your rankings.
Let's go.
Yeah, thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Kristy Puchko is the film editor for Mashable in New York City, and Jackson Weaver is a senior writer at CBC Entertainment here in Toronto. You can catch Toy Story 5 playing in theaters everywhere now.